Hi, welcome back to On the Cusp with
Alan Sather.
Johnny Whitfield. Today we're going to be talking about green business.
You mean marijuana?
I sure do.
Oh.
So, marijuana is a hot topic right now that we have two states with full legalization, Colorado and Washington State. I'm pretty excited for them, and there's already some good reports coming out of there.
Yeah, with the creation of a lot of jobs, and I'm surprised LA hasn't already done it,
Yeah, California had it on the ballot before. It just barely didn't pass. I feel like by 2016, it will. I think we'll probably have full legalization in California.
We already have all the shops for it, all the small businesses.
Yeah, and a lot of other states. And I think that it's going to be decriminalization at the federal level is imminent.
Yeah, think about it. If you make something legal, how many people are probably not going to do it or whatever? I don't know.
There's some appeal of the doing something that's illegal.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I was in high school, I only wanted to drink because I thought it was illegal, or I knew it was illegal, and I thought it was a cool thing to do, is to do something bad that I'm not supposed to do. So.
Right, but prohibition has never worked on anything.
Tried it twice.
Yeah, you ban alcohol, that didn't work. We saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
It did give us a great movie, Lawless, but that's about the only good thing to come from prohibition.
Right.
And it was just a lot of crime, and so instead of prohibition and spending a ton of money trying to catch and lock people up for just smoking a plant,
spending millions, if not billions of dollars a year on just incriminating these minor offenses.
Yeah, it's 40.
And just imagine if we spent that money on education instead of locking people up.
Yeah, it's $40 billion at the federal level of prosecuting people for marijuana, tracking, locking up, prosecuting people for marijuana.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
That's a huge waste. These are minor offenses. As long as you keep it to yourself, I don't care about what you do in your personal life.
We could just treat it like alcohol. Don't operate a vehicle, machinery. Don't show up.
The second you start acting like a moron in public, then that's when it becomes a problem. You do what you want in your life.
But also, there's a lot of benefits to having legal marijuana. Colorado is currently projecting $100 million in tax revenue in the first year.
That's great. I think LA would obviously get a lot more than that, and we could start utilizing that for LA's benefit.
We could start paying a lot of stuff, and
paying off debt.
And Colorado's saving 12 to 40 million. They're still working out that number by not arresting and keeping people marijuana users locked up.
Now they say that marijuana is a gateway drug.
Can I actually comment on this?
Absolutely, please do.
Well, I think that the reason why marijuana has turned into a gateway drug is because when someone tries it, they've been told that it's evil and going to ruin their lives, and when they realize that it isn't, then they say, well, what else have they lied to me about? So I think that the gateway drug part of it has a lot to do with being lied to, and then saying, well, what else is going on? What else is under the surface that I don't know about? And then people will start experimenting with things. And
absolutely,
that's a very valid point.
It's great, and there's been lots of research and debate, and I think that and this is my personal take, that the things that say marijuana is bad for you and all that is pure propaganda, and they can't prove the negative side effects.
Oh, there's not even enough research for it.
And there's lots that prove the good side effects of marijuana in pain relief, helping people sleep. There's all sorts of things.
And not to say that it's harmless,
Right.
Ingesting any hot, combustible. It's
still smoking.
But at the same time, it is smoking without all the things they put in cigarettes.
Right. There's not as many chemicals, or if
Right.
Not any. I mean, for all
But
that.
the tobacco industry needs tobacco to stay legal, and
Right.
maybe they don't want the competition from marijuana. Maybe they're behind prohibition. Could be.
Let's go back to the
The tax benefits? Is that what you want to go back
Yeah, I
to?
was going to say that I know somebody that has a condition, and literally by smoking marijuana, it didn't cure it, but it assisted in helping them feel a lot better.
Yeah.
What about Big Pharma? Big Pharma can't make money from a plant.
Absolutely. Big Pharma wants to keep you on pills as opposed to smoking a plant.
There's a lot more money in Xanax than marijuana.
It's true. There sure is. So,
Sure.
we got big tobacco, big pharma, and, they want to keep control and keep
Yes, they
their
do.
monopolies
They do.
on what
Feed
we're
you the
ingesting.
pills, take the cash.
Yep. But, okay, so we briefly mentioned jobs.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of jobs are we talking here?
Oh, we're talking, obviously it starts with the business owner himself.
Right.
Growers, they employ, maybe a dozen people at a shop, maybe a little less depending upon how big it is. And
Right.
you're talking a major boost in our economy as far as just plain job growth.
Yeah, and so if you've got from a basic, at the entry level of medicinal marijuana, you got the physicians assistants,
Bud tenders.
right. You've got all those dispensary operators, security guards, dispensary administrators, solar panel specialists, delivery drivers, lab tech, lawyers, marketing, insurance, government jobs, accounting, HR, web development, sales, marketing, advertising. It's
Endless?
an entire industry that would create probably millions of jobs across the
And
country.
it's already our cash crop in America.
Yeah, and it would be,
Well, they say tobacco is,
but marijuana would instantly become the number one legal cash crop with the legalization of marijuana.
And imagine if the people who run these dispensaries and things could not have to hide their grow houses or whatever in the mountains because the Fed is still cracking down on them.
Exactly, and if they didn't have the Fed coming after them, how much cheaper could the marijuana be? More booming business, more people have access buying
free
it,
enterprise.
then you increase the demand. It's a ton of jobs,
I mean, it's
and with
easily-
jobs
go ahead.
comes more tax revenue.
Right.
So if the government stops persecuting people, prosecuting, but persecuting too, and
in some cases.
but if they stop spending that $40 billion, and then you get their
So that's a $40 billion essentially savings.
Yep.
And then additional
Tax
tax
revenue.
revenue from the actual plant itself.
projected about $35 billion a year.
So essentially, you could average it out and say 100, and, give or take some.
That's really
Roughly.
bad math, but
No, I'm just saying.
okay.
What?
Based on
easy
those
math,
numbers, 75
75 billion.
is like the baseline estimate of turnaround from what we're wasting to what we
I
get.
think it would be at least 100 billion.
I agree.
And if you could
actually.
reinvest that money in some of the things that you guys have been discussing, like green energy or
That's true.
even
Yeah.
education, or
Education.
prison reform, God forbid.
A million different things that we could use some of that money for.
Yeah.
Getting out of debt too. So I mean, we still got a lot
That's
of
a
that.
very
17 trillion.
and
Yeah, perfect.
that's whole.
Yeah, we're not going to dive into that in this episode. I think we'll
But-
call it.
We can smoke our way out of debt.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to call it on Green Business. Thank you for watching On the Cusp.
With Alan Sather
Johnny Whitfield. Remember to check out our websites.
for more information.
Get all the links and everything. And tune in next time for...
Taxes.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one. Thanks
Love it.
again.